Three, two, one.
Training needs analysis or TNA. Just hearing that term probably takes some of you back to hours of filling out competency checklists and skills gap reports. But here's the million-dollar question. Are you still using TNA? And more importantly, should you be? Hey there, Office Ninjas, and welcome back to another episode of the Office Ninja Podcast, where we help you navigate the ever-changing world of HR and leadership. This season is all about becoming a better leader, a better people handler, and a better HR professional. Today, we're challenging an age-old practice. Is TNA still the best way to assess and develop talent? Or is it time for something better? What is TNA and why was it popular? Let's start with the basics. TNA, or Training Needs Analysis, has been the go-to method for identifying skill gaps and planning training programs for years. The idea is simple. You assess what employees need to learn, compare it to what they already know, and then create a training plan to fill those gaps. It made sense back in the day when learning was mostly formal, structured, and delivered through traditional workshops. HR professionals swore by it because it provided a systematic approach to workforce development. But here's the problem. Workplaces today are different. Jobs are evolving faster than ever, and the way we learn has drastically changed. Here's why TNA might not be cutting it anymore. Number 1, it's reactive, not proactive. By the time you identify a gap and roll out training, the skills might already be outdated. 2, it assumes learning is linear. People don't just learn from structured programs anymore. They learn on the go, from peers and through real-world experiences. 3, it focuses on fixing weaknesses. Instead of just closing gaps, organizations should focus on amplifying strengths and future-proofing skills. 4th, it doesn't always align with business goals. Sometimes, training is developed based on what employees think they need rather than what drives business success. So, if TNA has all these issues, what should we be doing instead? The modern alternatives to TNA. Today's workplace demands a more agile, data-driven, and employee-centric approach to learning and development. Here are some alternatives. 1. Skill-based workforce planning. Organizations proactively map out future skills and train employees accordingly instead of waiting for skill gaps to appear. 2. Learning experience platforms. Allow employees to take charge of their learning journey, curating content based on their roles and aspirations. 3. Performance-driven development. Instead of relying on a checklist, development should be tied directly to measurable business outcomes. We also have coaching and mentoring. Formal training has its place, but nothing beats the real-world guidance from experienced mentors and leaders. Lastly, real-time feedback and continuous learning. Learning should be an ongoing process, not just a scheduled training event. Think bite-sized learning, micro-courses, and interactive experiences. These methods focus on adaptability, personalization, and business impact, something TNA often fails to deliver. But does this mean TNA is completely obsolete? Well, not necessarily. When is TNA still relevant? Before we throw TNA out of the window, let's talk about situations where it can still add value. First is through regulatory and compliance trainings. If there are strict legal or industry requirements, a structured TNA helps ensure employees meet mandatory standards. Second, highly technical roles. When specific certifications or knowledge areas are required, a traditional TNA can ensure that no critical gaps exist. New employee onboarding. For fresh hires, TNA can help identify what training is needed to get them up to speed quickly. And lastly, industry transitions. If a company is shifting into new markets or technologies, a well-executed TNA can help access this employee's need to be reskilled. The key takeaway? TNA isn't useless, but it shouldn't be your only tool. The best approach is a hybrid. Use TNA where it makes sense, but combine it with modern, real-time learning strategies. TNA, learning agility, and inner peace. Now let's connect this to something bigger. Your inner peace as an HR professional or leader. If you're still stuck in the rigid TNA cycle, constantly scrambling to create training that's outdated by the time it's rolled out, you're setting yourself up for frustration. But if you embrace agile learning methods, focus on real-time development, and align training with actual business needs, you'll create a system that's less stressful, more impactful, and way more fulfilling. And let's be real, prioritizing your inner peace isn't just a luxury, it's a necessity. You can't help others grow if you're constantly drowning in outdated processes yourself. Alright, let's sum it up. TNA was useful, but it's no longer the only way to assess and develop talent. Modern learning should be continuous, data-driven, and aligned to business goals. Also, TNA is still valuable for compliance, technical roles, onboarding, and industry transitions, while blending traditional and modern learning approaches creates a better, less stressful HR strategy. Lastly, adapting agile learning methods can help you prioritize that inner peace while still driving results. So, here's my challenge to you. Take a step back and evaluate your learning strategies. Are you still relying purely on TNA? If so, what's one new method you can experiment within this month? That's it for today's episode of The Office Ninja. If this resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Remember, prioritize your inner peace. See you next time, ninjas.